Hey, Sam Silver, eXp Realty. I'm just waiting we got a Zoom meeting coming up, and I want to make sure that I let you know what we're doing. We're doing Charitable Real Estate 101 via Zoom, and it happens every Wednesday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, let's see what we got going on. I want to enter my Zoom also at the same time. So give me a second so I can enter my Zoom. And I'll meet you inside. Give me a sec. Today is the 27th. I hope everyone's having a good day. Hope everyone is healthy and happy and keeping safe. Whatever state you are, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you in your state. So let's do this. We're joining with video. Let's see. So there we go. Good morning, Cami.
Sometimes it does not.
Shh.
Sometimes there's a conspiracy. It is the man holding the man down. But it's spinning, so let's see.
Sydney Silver, go. Love you. Go outside. Go outside, please. Go outside. I'm on my show. Please. Goodbye. They don't need to hear that. Shh. Sorry about that, everybody.
I'm attempting to get on Facebook. Me this. Yay! Okay, we're getting on Facebook Live. Hang tight, and we are jumping in. Looks like Zoom has changed up some of its platform. I'm going to do this right on my own timeline today. Let's see. Let me just make sure that I'm live. My apologies. This user cannot create a live video. Well, damn the bad luck. Never mind. We'll just work with what we got. So, good afternoon, my friends. Thank you for coming to learn about charitable gifts of real estate. Whatever brings you here, whether you are a nonprofit, a real estate professional, a concerned citizen, a fundraiser, a visionary, we welcome you and want to give you all the information you need to learn how to leverage real estate for real change. My name is Cammie Baker. I am your host and the author of Real Estate is Hot, Fundraising is Not. There are 5 keys to revolutionize how this funding happens for charities and their champions. So I'm just going to share my screen and dive on in. Now you'll notice that we call these legacy listings. And the reason that we call them legacy listings is because when a piece of real estate is donated, it needs to be listed and therefore liquidated. When it's listed, it becomes legacy. It's legacy for the nonprofit, for the donor who is donating it, and for the real estate professionals who get to list these legacy listings. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of technology issue. My apologies. Okay, warning. The reason we put this warning here is a little bit of tongue-in-cheek, but it's also quite serious. You're getting ready to learn something that you didn't know, something I didn't know 2.5 years ago, something that 99% of your marketplace, your industry, the people around you simply are not aware of. And friends, once you know the truth, you cannot unlearn it. And the truth is, proceeds of real estate donations will always be a better way to fund a nonprofit than fundraisers, period. So frankly, if you're not prepared to take a stand and to help those you say you're here to help, frankly, you shouldn't be watching, because it is a very painful thing to know how to help nonprofits, know how to feed and clothe and serve people and not take action. So I'm just warning you now, the truth is coming your way. And here's the truth. Charitable gifts of real estate. Let's talk about how they got started. 1917, U.S. government actually created the tax deduction. And in our case, gifts of real estate. Government said, hey, if you'll donate a piece of real estate to a 501c3, the 501c3 has an asset that it can sell to fund its programs, and the donor of the piece of real estate gets massive tax benefits, 2 of which we focus on the most, which are avoiding capital gains tax on that which they donate, and the ability to write off the appraised value of the property, regardless of sales price, as the basis for their tax deduction. Now, it sounds simple enough. You got generous property owners all over the country who want to give real estate to nonprofits. Sounds simple, but here's the problem. It's super complex. It's risky. Nonprofits are very averse to anything that's risky. And so they are flat out saying no. If the average person were to offer $500 cash or a $500,000 piece of property to the 1.3 million nonprofits in this country, less than 0.5% of the nonprofits would take the real estate. They take the $500 and say no to the $500,000 that would come from liquidating the real estate. And there's a lot of great reasons for this, and we're going to go through them right now. So the nonprofits just don't have the expertise. They got smart people. They've got successful, strategic, savvy business folks. And you know what? Even if I sit on their board, even if you sitting on this presentation, even after what you learn here, even if you sit on the board, the next problem is there's no capital. Meaning, a lot of these donations require money. Let's face it. Real estate, even if it's given to you, the whole deed, no mortgage, complete equity, there's money that needs to be put into effect. What if you need to pay for overhead, expenses, etc.? They just don't have the capital. Mission drift is something that I learned about 2 years ago. I had no idea what that meant. But every one of those 1.3 million nonprofits have a mission, and their mission is not to get complicated and bogged down with real estate transactions. We do not want them drifting off their mission of serving veterans, saving animals, and feeding children. We want them staying on mission. A lot of nonprofits have heard of bad experiences. A lot of them, a small amount of them will take gifts of real estate on a very limited basis if it's local and mortgage free and easy. But the majority of them, 99.9%, have restrictive gift policies in place that say no way, no how, no thank you. So ultimately, it is so risky that it is the nonprofits themselves, the ones who benefit the most, that are saying no and stopping this funding from happening. Now, here's the opportunity. There's $474 billion a year that is given to nonprofits in this country. 90% of that, wrap your head around that, 90% of that is coming from less than 3% of cash, the change in our pocket, our cash reserve. Less than 3% of what we have access to is making up 90% of that. Now, $9 billion a year is coming from real estate. There are donations of real estate happening every day, an average of 44 a day that are happening. And maybe that sounds like a lot, but it's only 2% of what the nonprofits are bringing in, but 43% of our wealth is held in real estate. Doesn't make sense that 90% is coming from 3% of cash and 2% is coming from the 43% of the wealth we hold in real estate. This big disparity is what had the solution created, this thing called a specialized nonprofit. Now, there are a small handful of these types of organizations in this country. The one that we work with is a handful of guys who each have 20, 30, 40 years of experience in real estate, commercial real estate, development, and sitting on boards, philanthropy, doing good deeds. They came together 20 years ago and said, how can we fix this problem? All of our nonprofit friends are afraid to touch real estate. How can we help them? So the specialized nonprofit was created. It takes title and financial responsibility for the real estate that's being donated, which allows any and all, whoever the nonprofit is you love, we love them too. They can benefit from the proceeds of gifts of real estate with no risk, with no out-of-pocket expense, and with no need to accept real estate, just benefit from the proceeds. So these are some of the nonprofits in this country that have benefited from gifts of real estate. You may recognize some of them. The fact is, this has been happening for over 100 years by $9 billion a year on average. So some of these that you recognize, keep in mind, even though they have received a gift of real estate, they have hundreds and thousands of chapters, branches, groups, subsidiaries all over the country. So just because Boys and Girls Club has benefited from real estate does not mean that the one in your marketplace has any clue about this. That's why we were created, to make the clueless get a clue as to how they can 6 times their donations. Now, the one at the top, Fidelity Charitables, we always point out is the largest nonprofit in this country. Even they don't want to do their own gifts of real estate. They leverage a third party. They leverage the same team that we do. All of these universities, public radio, public churches, just any and all types of nonprofits have benefited and can continue to benefit. So here's what it looks like. Property donor. Let's just say, for example, that the nonprofit is in California. And let's say that there is a donor in California who says, you know what, I got a second home in Florida. Happy to donate it to you. It's got $1 million appraised value. We'd like to get $300,000 in our own pocket. That's what we paid for it 20 years ago, but you can have the rest. All right. So the property gets donated to the specialized nonprofit who gives them that $300,000 in cash, takes title and responsibility, lists the real estate at a full commission with one of our charitable real estate specialists, and the donor's nonprofit of choice, in this case, the one in California, receives the majority of the proceeds. Here are the solution. Here are the benefits to the 3 stakeholders: the nonprofit, the donor, and the advisory community. Now, these are all solutions based on charitable gifting of real estate. Some of these are based specifically on working with the real agents of change and our vetted resources. So, for example, we cannot say that there's no risk and all reward if a nonprofit is doing this themselves. We are not suggesting that nonprofits start to accept real estate. We are suggesting that they learn how they can benefit from the proceeds. And the way that we do it, no risk, all reward, no traditional fundraisers or grant writing. The average donation from one gift is $550,000, $557,000 to be more specific last year. Friends, your nonprofit has donors already that would donate real estate if they knew that they could. I'm going to say that again because you need to leave this 40 minutes with us knowing that gifts of real estate are in the donor list of every one of the 1.3 million nonprofits. And if you think to yourself, not mine, I don't know anybody that would donate real estate, please do not rob your nonprofit by having that scarcity mindset. We have no idea what assets our friends and family and followers and funders have until we give them the option. So, for example, it is proven that donors will give 3 to 7 times more when they can give non-cash assets. And we always talk about our friend Linda because this drives this point home without exception. There is a huge nonprofit in this country that brings in hundreds of millions of dollars. They have a donor list of 300,000 people. One of their donors is Linda, and Linda was giving them $25 a year for 32 years. Linda Grable, actual person. A couple of years ago, she sees one of the team talking about the ability to donate real estate. Lo and behold, she has a second home. It's a cabin that was in the family for decades. It's in the Poconos. It's a 6-hour drive for her to get there. It's in disrepair. She can't even stay in it. She has to get a hotel room when she goes to visit. It's just overwhelming. She doesn't know what to do with it. So when she finds out, she donates this piece of real estate. Now, everyone has a Linda. Everyone knows someone who has been donating $25 a year, who has been cleaning cages at the animal rescue, who has been helping out. And we don't know that they have real estate to donate because we've never asked them. This increases cash donations too. So the fundraiser at that nonprofit and I were talking 3-4 months ago, and Kelly said to me, Linda now gives $500 a year. She went from $25 a year to $500 a year because our friend Dr. Russell James tells us there is a mindset shift when people go from giving pocket change to giving from their wealth bucket of real estate. Now, Dr. James is also the one who has done the research and proven that nonprofits bring in 6 times their endowments when they start to accept non-cash assets, in our case, real estate. And another benefit is if the nonprofit already accepts gifts of real estate on a limited, easy local basis, they can expand their marketplace to include the whole country and sometimes even the whole world. So ultimately, the benefits to the nonprofit, they can leave the legacy they were created to leave. Now let's talk about these donors, because you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, makes sense. I've never heard of this. If you say $9 billion is being donated and donors are getting something out of it, well, then what are the benefits to them? Well, first is convenience. That woman, Linda, handed over the keys and the deed to that property because it was convenient. It was a 6-hour drive. It was in disrepair. She would have had to put money into it out of her own pocket. She would have had to hire contractors and deal with the whole process. For her, it was convenient to donate when there was a third-party expert team that could handle it. Now, if that nonprofit that she was donating to needed to get involved, then there would have been months and months of planning and strategy. That would not have been convenient. Now, donors can receive partial cash payment, whether they want to pay off mortgages, whether they want to buy life insurance, whether in our example, it's $1 million condo, they paid $300 cash for it last 20 years ago, and they wanted to get their initial investment back in their pocket. Ultimately, it doesn't matter why. Just know that donors don't have to donate the full value of the property. They can give smarter from their wealth bucket as opposed to the pocket change. There is no capital gains tax on that which they donate. And friends, 80% of donors donate because it is the right thing to do, because they want to leave legacy, because they love the causes that they support. Now, let's talk about the advisors. Now, I'm talking about people who advise people who own real estate. That could be a CPA. It could be an estate planning attorney. It could be a real estate attorney. It could be a financial advisor or a real estate agent. Friends, when a professional can combine their personal goals with their professional goals, when they can make money from making a difference, when they can make money because they're making a difference, it's a really good way to develop business. They can support lots of causes. So instead of having to pick 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 that they are giving donations to and volunteering at and helping out, they can actually support hundreds, because the way that they are supporting them now is by helping their donors know that they can donate from their wealth bucket of real estate. Unique sales proposition, we cannot say this enough. By 2025, there will be charitable real estate specialists, charitable real estate divisions, charitable real estate champions all over this country. Right now, there's no one in your marketplace or your industry that is talking about this. and you can take advantage of that. You can have doors open. You can meet high net worth clients. You can have the clients that you already know. You can give them the blessing of knowing how to give smarter. And I promise you, when the people you already know that you have this specialty, they will introduce you to the nonprofits they know, to the high net worth clients they know. They will want to spread the word. Charitable real estate divisions create credibility for these advisors. Ultimately, the real estate agents are guaranteed a full commission to list legacy listings, and the financial advisors can increase their assets under management. Lots of ways that happens. We talk about it in the Charitable Real Estate Masterclass that we have coming up on Thursday next week from 12 to 2. It's free. We can send you a link. Now, who are the real agents of change? The Rock, as we have become known. Well, we are the only organization in the world that provides information, education, and certification around charitable gifts of real estate, and more importantly, how to leverage real estate for real change. We have the vetted resources and relationships. The specialized nonprofits that we work with are the only ones that work with all nonprofits. You can go Google charitable gifting of real estate all you want, and you will find maybe a dozen nonprofits. Remember, we said about 0.5% will actually take real estate. And you know what? If all you want is a tax deduction, they're good enough. But if you want the proceeds from the donation to be given to the nonprofit you love, that's not going to happen with just any specialized nonprofit. We have the right ones for you to work with. We have the marketing, the email, the social media posts. Whatever got you to this video today is because we created some way of leveraging real estate for real change. And we can provide that for you and your company and your nonprofit too. We have the only programs for the charitable real estate specialists we've talked about, for the divisions that are being created. And friends, this database, this map is growing every day. There are realtors, there are financial advisors, there are nonprofits, etc., that are on the map. Why do you want to be on the map? Because as you hover over any of the states, people come up that are already positioned, that are ready to partner and promote with you and for you. So when you bring together visionary people who are educated in how cause marketing campaigns work, marketing for profit and nonprofit with causes in mind to come together, friends, this is how we make money, making a difference. If you don't see your state represented, get excited, because you'll be the first one in that state, but you won't be the last. So let's rock and roll, as we say. Now, there are charitable real estate specialists and charitable real estate champions. We have the only systems and support and strategy in the world that help with this. Now, let's talk about the difference between the two. In any industry, there are specialists. And a specialist is someone who is highly skilled in a specific industry. They have specific details and knowledge of a restricted topic. You know, you could be a specialist in the industry as a doctor. You could be a specialist as a luxury agent, real estate, etc. A specialist is someone who has knowledge. They just know more than other people in their industry. And that's fabulous. And that's where we start with Charitable Real Estate Masterclass. All in the head. Learn what is this and gain the skills that put you ahead of 99% of people in your industry or market, no matter where you are. But we want to encourage you and invite you to consider being a champion, because champions come from the heart. Champions are people who fight for a person or a cause. They are the ones that do battle for someone's honor. They are the number one winners in their marketplace because they are taking action. They don't just know something other people don't know. They do something about it from their heart. Now, you may be thinking, this is all great. What's the next step? There's 4 kinds of people that come to these types of presentations. And we want to tell you what's next for you, depending on who that is for you. So there are people that show up here that they're not a nonprofit, they're not a fundraiser, they don't know realtors, they don't know financial advisors, they don't really want to help their community. We just want to say, if that's you, thank you for coming. There's really nothing much left to do except keep us in mind, because you will be hearing about this at pool parties, around the water cooler at work, on social media, in Facebook groups. You will be learning about this, so you'll know where to come if you have questions. Moreover, you are one of the next 3. So you might be someone who says, you know what? I actually have a piece of real estate. I didn't know that this was an option, but now that I do, I'd like to get it evaluated. I'd like to see if my property qualifies. Well, you can go to that link, property evaluation. It takes 2 minutes to fill it out. When you fill it out, we then introduce you to the specialized nonprofit. They give you 2 net sheets. One that shows you what it would look like if you did a traditional sale and paid Uncle Sam 30% capital gains, etc., or if you were to donate the property. See, one of the things we love about this is we don't sell anyone anything. We want you and the donor and the realtors and the nonprofits to make good business decisions based on facts. So that's what we do for property donors. Now, you might say, okay, I see what you're saying. I see how this has been around for 100 years. It makes sense that the reason none of us have heard of it is because nonprofits in general just won't take real estate. So there's been no reason to teach it or talk about it. So that makes sense. I get the concept, but I just need a little bit more. No worries. We've got the FAQS. This is a fabulous link to go to. Top 13 most asked questions. You'll see there an interview with me and the specialized nonprofit, with Dr. James, and even the report that he and his team put together that prove this is how you 6 times your endowments. You can also go to this /donations and see case studies. You can see land, residential, commercial, who donated it, what state was it in, what nonprofit benefited, how much money went to the nonprofit world. You can come to the masterclass. The masterclass is where you get all the details, all the down and dirty, all the nitty gritty about how charitable real estate works. You're sitting in on the appetizer. The masterclass is the buffet. Now, the majority of people who come to something like this say, well, I didn't know about it, but now that I do, sure, I do want to go look at the FAQs. I do want to see the case studies, but I don't want to get hung up in analysis paralysis. My nonprofit needs money now. My donors need to hear about this. My clients deserve to know their options. If you're someone like that who says, my board needs to know about this. Cammie, can you talk to my board next week? Can you talk to our donors next week? Maybe you have a real estate company. You say, wait a minute, full commission to list legacy listings that fund our community by hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars? Duh. Our real estate company wants to know. Maybe you're a nonprofit. You say, well, I want to teach financial advisor companies about this. When you know that 65% of these donations come from financial advisors who understand this, might be people for you to talk to. Maybe you have clients. Maybe you have a real estate investor group. How about all those nonprofit groups, nonprofit leadership, Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups? The point is, my friends, if you say, okay, never heard of this, I want to learn more, but I'm not going to get hung up in all of that research. I want my people to know about this. Well, we can do one of these for you. This exact same type of presentation for your board, for your donors, for your real estate group, for your nonprofit leadership committee. In other words, this is about information and education. Now, this is what it looks like to be a champion. Remember how we talked about specialists know more? They got skills, they got knowledge, but knowledge on ice is not nearly as exciting as ignorance on fire, which is what I've been my whole life, meaning I might not know everything, but I'll take action. And that's what these folks have been doing. So you've got the executive director of the nonprofit on the left. That's Hallie from the Haven. You got Jessica Peterson, real estate extraordinaire agent in the middle. And of course, I'm taking a knee. And we are putting this image in our book that's coming out. Real estate is hot, fundraising is not. That image will go in the media. We are celebrating right now this month, National List of Legacy Listing Month. It is a public awareness announcement letting people know you can benefit from gifts of real estate. So the next step for you is to attend the masterclass. It's free. It won't be forever, but it is at the moment. Get in there and learn about this now. While you have the option, go to that link. We do it the third Tuesday of the month, live every month. We happen to be doing a special edition next week on Thursday at 12 to 2 Eastern Time, and encourage you to come. It will be on a different link, but if you register at this link, then you'll learn about it. Also, the book, Real Estate is Hot, Fundraising is Not. It's coming out in a couple of weeks. I am right now going through and looking at, fixing any typos, etc. But if you'd like to get the first chapter for free, you can go to that link. And I'm happy to hang tight if anyone has any questions. Gloria, Jorge, nice to have both of you. If you'd like to ask any questions, please just feel free to unmute yourself. Sam is putting this live through some social media. If there's anyone with questions there, just let me know.
Everyone in this clubhouse room, you have any questions, please let me know.
Gloria, who invited you? I see you're unmuting yourself.
Thank you. Sam Silver. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Okay, great. I'm in a place where I have to keep my mask on. But let me just ask, for the master class, is there a cost? Is there a cost?
No, the master class is free for now. In the next couple of months, we'll be charging for that. I don't know exactly what that's going to be. I have other partners, but for right now, we just want everyone to know how this works. It is our mission to fund the nonprofit world by $1 billion a year. And that translates into 50 million in commissions to the real estate world. And Gloria, we can't do that by ourselves. We need your help. Are you a nonprofit or a real estate agent?
I'm a nonprofit. I represent many other nonprofits and small businesses, actually, but a lot of nonprofits I'm connected to. Yes.
Are you a fundraiser, community outreach? What's your position?
Basically, I would, any of those categories, I would say more of community outreach. That's what we do, making information and funding, financing available to minority groups, organizations, and small businesses.
Well, I don't think you were on right at the beginning when I gave the warning, but we give a warning here that you can't unlearn what you're getting ready to learn. And you've just learned.
I did hear you.
Okay.
I love that. Thank you.
Well, the fact is, my love, you now know the best way to fund any nonprofit over any fundraiser, period. When fundraisers are focused on the 3% of cash that people have, and real estate allows people to tap into their 43% of wealth, it's a whole different ball game. And frankly, the people who donate real estate end up giving more cash than they did before as well. There's a whole psychological change. We are in love with Dr. Russell Jane, who talks about the psychological shift that happens for people when they start to give from their wealth bucket. So, I highly encourage you to sit in on the masterclass. Like I said, next week we have a special edition from 12 to 2 Eastern on Thursday. You are welcome to invite any executive directors, any fundraisers, any marketing, any decision makers. And lastly, those business communities you work in, 87% of consumers will choose the realtor, the attorney, the print shop, the auto mechanic, etc., that is socially responsible. And what we have here is the best social responsibility ever, because we don't have to pick just 1 or 2 or 3 nonprofits. This helps every nonprofit in your marketplace, period. So I'm happy to help you help your community make money making a difference.
Thank you so much. That is fantastic. I'm going to look to bring many, many on during that time frame. Thank you.
You're welcome. Jorge, do you have any questions? Who invited you?
Hi, hello. I was invited through Samuel Silver.
Yeah.
The only question I would have is, how does the gains happen for the person benefiting? Like my uncle, I don't remember last time we talked. I explained the process to him, and he actually really liked the idea. He just needed more detail, and I couldn't really answer. So how could I answer, or how can I bring him aboard?
Yeah. So first of all, our favorite saying is, do what you do best and refer the rest. So it would be really beneficial not only to you and your uncle, but to the millions that could be served by him getting a little better educated. It would serve him well to come to one of these himself. And the fact that he has a nonprofit makes his situation a little different. So I'm going to talk about the gains, et cetera, from a typical perspective, right? So let's say, for example, your uncle's church. Let's say that there's a donor, and they say, you know what? I've got a condo in Florida. It's $1 million appraised condo, and I love your church. I want to make a donation. I don't want to donate the full $1 million. That won't benefit me. My accountant says I can't donate that much and use it all. So what I'd like to do is get $500,000 cash, and you can take title and you sell it for $1 million. You can keep any of the equity past the $500,000. So one of the reasons that nonprofits don't take real estate is because in this scenario, in order for that donor to get the tax benefits that they're looking for, the property has to be donated to a 501c3. And the only way that a property can exchange hands with anybody anywhere is when it is lien free. Therefore, if they donated the property directly to your uncle's church, he would have to pay off the $500,000 cash that they're wanting. He'd have to give them $500,000 cash to take $1 million deed so that he could sell the $1 million property, recoup the $500,000, and then benefit by the equity. Most nonprofits can't do that, won't do that. So that's why our specialized nonprofit steps in, because they can do that. The donor's off the deed within a couple of weeks. They got their $500,000 cash. they're off the deed, etc. So for your question about the gains and stuff like that, in this scenario, the donor has $1 million donation, but they're getting 500 cash. Now, they're going to have to pay taxes on that 500,000, just like if they sold the property any other way. It is the proceeds. It is what is being donated to the nonprofit world that they are not paying capital gains tax on, and that they can actually write off of their adjusted gross income to save on their income tax. Does that help?
Okay, yeah. I'll explain a little better next time.
Well, do him a favor. Don't confuse him. Why would you understand this? Why would I understand real estate in California? Imagine, and look, I was a real estate agent for years. I have a real estate license. I understand real estate, but imagine me trying to list your uncle's church. What a nightmare. I would screw that up. I don't know how to pull a market evaluation. I don't know what your listing contracts look like. I would be befuddled. So let's just bring him to the people who can answer his questions. And ultimately, if this sounds like something he'd like to do, even with the church right now, there might be reasons that this would be easier for him to do than listing it the way that you currently are. What would happen is, if the specialized nonprofit got involved, you still are going to get the listing. You're still the listing agent, and you're going to get a full commission. So, I don't know what your commission schedule is out there, but if you're negotiating with your uncle about commission, you might actually get a higher commission by working with the specialized nonprofit. Like, I don't know. I just want you to know you won't lose the listing. And it'll actually be a lot easier, because instead of dealing with an emotional family member who might try to tell you how to do your job, now you're actually working with an unemotional third party who respects your authority as a realtor in that area and won't give you grief about whatever's going on. For me as a real estate agent, I tried working with friends and family. So I see the benefit of having somebody more distant as the listing seller.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll try to bring him onto the master class. And let me see if he's willing to join us one of these days.
Okay. So we do this 101 live every Wednesday at noon Eastern. Next week it's going to be on a different platform, just because we're recording it in a webinar evergreen kind of thing. But anybody who wants to come, I'm going to have my assistant sitting on this link to remind you where to go for the actual presentation that day. And then the master class is normally the third Tuesday of the month, which was last week, but we're doing a special one on Thursday next week from 12 to 2 Eastern time. And Sam can get you the information about either of those. And you can always have your uncle watch the recording. When you go to therock.com/101, there's a recording of this presentation that he can watch at his leisure to get the concept. And if he wants to jump on the phone after that, we're happy to chat with him.
Okay. I'll send him the link.
Okay, friends, as always, Sam Silver rocks. He understands that what we're doing is funding nonprofits by the billions, helping donors to leave the legacy they want to leave, helping realtors to get paid a full commission. He gets this concept, which is why almost every presentation we do, he has a guest. You're here because he cares about you. You're here because he's a generous, giving human being. And we just want to acknowledge and praise and thank him for seeing the vision here and giving you the glasses to see the vision as well. So please know that you can reach out to me anytime. Sam, if any of these good people have another question, just let me know. I'm going to go finish editing my book so we can get it out in a couple of weeks. Bye, everybody.
All right. So let's do this. anybody have any questions I can answer in any of my social media? We have a few things rolling here. So let me turn this one around so I can answer any questions here. And if there's anything I can answer here, please put it in the chat window. If you want to come up, please let me know. I'll invite you up. We can talk. It's really exciting. This is just an unbelievable opportunity to learn about charitable gifts of real estate and how they work. If you're a nonprofit, you need to know about this because the average gift of real estate is $550,000. Oh, this one's too close. So let me move this over. And like Cami said, this has been around since 1917. And there's a lot of people that don't know about it. Over 100 years, this has been around. So if you have a nonprofit, if you're a realtor, if you're a financial professional, if you're a tax professional, think about all the people that you have in your network that need to know about this. So please connect with me. Any of these rolling, if you see my scrolling thing here, direct message me on my Instagram, direct message me on Clubhouse. If you want to get a hold of me directly, you can go to my 10K card, sam661.com. That will get to me. Or you can scan my QR code on the page that you're seeing in the corners. That will go to my 10K card as well. So I appreciate everybody here that has taken the time to make a difference in their community, to make a difference in people's lives. So I really appreciate all of you. If you're not someplace you can write, you can go to samsilverhomes.com. You can go 661-418-REAL, 661-418-REAL. That's an easy number to remember. And I appreciate all of you. And I'm going to close all of my social media. And this will be on my Facebook group, Mr. Santa Clarita. And make it a great day. Be blessed and take care of each other. Bye for now.